Welcome to the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast. I am your host, Ann Alston, and it is once again my pleasure to bring quality programs to all of you. I am excited yet again to have another amazing speaker professional here on the podcast today. 2018 is bigger and better, and definitely this is a platform to be on if you are a business professional. Just in case you didn't know, the purpose of the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast is to not only share our industry information, but we also want to encourage you, the working professional or new career seeker, to enter their line of work. So please be sure to listen and look at all the pages, check them out, write down some good information, reach out to them, because this is the BMWOC family and we are here to serve you. I also want to take a moment to thank our corporate sponsors, Kat Serrano LLC, Sherwood Empowers, Concern and Learning, Evangelism Radio, Genesis Preferred Solution, J Coach International, Nels Tax Help, My Financial Home, Power, STCI, and Student Teacher, along with all of our business affiliate sponsors and the rest of our participants who is here to make this event a success. So today I have a very inspirational young lady. Her name is JaKayla Carrigan, and she is 22 years old. She's a mother, a wife, and she is also currently pursuing her college degree. JaKayla started a blog called Illuminate Your Tunnel because of her past experience as a child, in which she's going to talk about that story in this interview today. And according to JaKayla, she wants to help people who are in the dark tunnels come out and illuminate themselves, and want to help people also use their experience to do something better with their life. So welcome, JaKayla, to the podcast.
Hi, I'm very excited. I was telling my husband, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh. Well, welcome to the podcast. I am so excited, just as you are, to have you on here. So tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do for a living.
Well, my name is JaKayla, and
Okay.
I'm 22. I live in Arkansas. I've lived here most of my life, but I've been back and forth between Texas. I'm a mother. Well, I had my first child when I was 17. I got married when I was 19. And I'm in college pursuing a degree in strategic communications with an emphasis in social media. And currently I am trying to launch 3 businesses, and one of them is my writing career, where I write young adult novels and children's books. Another one is a subscription box that I'm doing for kids that are homeschooled or their parents feel like they're not being challenged enough in school. It would include a writing prompt journal that will help them with creative writing skills, analytical and thinking skills, and it will also have STEM and STEAM projects in there so they can do them. And it would only be like $15 every 2 months.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay. So you are entering into a very dynamic degree program. What made you want to go into the strategic role? So talk to me about how you actually found to go into that degree program.
Well, I've been writing since I was in kindergarten. I actually taught myself how to read because I love to write so much. And like as I got older, my parents and my grandmothers would both tell me that there was no money in writing. So I kind of veered off that path, and I was going into the medical field because everybody's like, go into the medical field. You know, that's where all the money is. And I did, and I liked it. Like, I was going to school. It was fine. But I flunked out my second year because I wasn't going to school for myself. I was going for everybody else. And, like, I came upon strategic communications when I was looking at online programs. And I saw it, and I was like, this is interesting. And I looked up everything that it has that goes with it. And I was like, that's basically me. Basically, I would be doing all the communications. I've almost landed an internship with the NBA, but I couldn't because I'm 22 and a mom. So I wouldn't have been able just to pack up my stuff and leave. But After I get my degree, hopefully all three of my businesses will be doing well, and I wouldn't have to really just go into a career. I would just have my degree as a backup plan.
Okay. So you're talking about starting a career. So what type of career are you planning on starting up?
Well, it's, my businesses, like I really, really love working with children, but I don't, I really don't have the patience for kids like I do my own, but I love like making programs for them that work because my daughter, she goes to a rainbow preschool because she has like little touches of autism, and I love seeing how they work with the kids and how each child learns different, and it was just interesting to me how they come up with the programs and stuff to teach them because each one of the children have a different disability. That's why it's called a rainbow school because it's
Wow.
a rainbow of disabilities.
Okay. That sounds fantastic. Okay, so what's your second business idea?
Um, Writing. I've wrote a lot of books over the years, but I've never published them because like I was kind of scared
What?
out of it.
You wrote them and never published them. What?
Yeah, like I just wrote them and I was like, I don't want to do this. My husband was like, "You're so good," and I was like, because like my whole life I've been called the white girl of my family. Where
Oh,
I live in Arkansas is very, very country, and everybody will ask me, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "I'm from here." You don't act like it. Now I've been called a white girl. I've been told that I act white and all this. And it's like I read my books and I'm like, black people will not like my books. Ain't
you
nobody gonna
know,
read this.
you know what? You know what? You talking to the wrong lady because I'm going to encourage you to publish your book. Let me tell you. You know what? I would say that not just Arkansas, but so many places around the world where Black women, Black young men have been told that they're not their color or they're not their culture. But you know what? You are what God made you to be. So if you have books over there that need to be read, it doesn't cost you a dime to go to createspace.com or one of these other online platforms to publish your book for free. And you can get your book out there and you don't have to pay anything to do that. And I want to encourage you, and I'm going to surround you by a whole bunch of authors on this platform that can help you get your book published. Okay. So we're going to make a promise today on this podcast to publish your books.
Okay. Yeah,
Can't be
it's
scared.
like
You got to do it.
I'm really like I've been writing so much more because my husband he loves that about me. He calls me weird and quirky, and he thinks it's funny and cute because he said it makes me who I am. But like I'll ask my grandmother to read my book, and like because she's my biggest critic. I'll ask her to read the book, and she's like, "I can't read this mess. I ain't finna read this mess." And it's just like so discouraging. But like this year, I was just like I didn't. I've been trying to ignore her lately because it's like she keeps telling me to do what my sister's doing. My sister is
Mhm.
going to be an LPN, but I told my grandma that's not who I am. Who I am is not
Mhm.
just, it can't be put into a
Mhm.
box. Like,
Right.
I might want to be a doctor tomorrow, then the next day I might want to be somebody in the woods playing with sticks. I'm very different. And like, when I was younger, I used to run from that because everybody's like being different is bad. And I've always felt like that
Mhm.
because I'm black and I'm dark skinned, that everybody always tries to put me in this box that they think
Mhm.
black women should be in. And that's what one of my books is about because like my childhood was very, very hard because like I was always different. I didn't do stuff that everybody thought a child should do. And it kind of played against me because when I was in school, I got picked on for it. When I was at home, I got picked on for it. So I didn't have a safe zone. So I began writing, and writing became my safe zone. And as I got older,
Mhm.
I wrote one book about the incident with my stepdad. My mom took my book from me, and she told me I couldn't write anymore. So it was just like, she took my gift from me, because she didn't like how I portrayed what was happening to me. And it was very hard, because I didn't have an outlet. It was just all inside. And I grew very angry because of that. And like after the incident with my stepdad, we ended up in foster care, and then we came back to Arkansas for 5 years. I met my husband when I was 15. I hadn't been back down here a year. And, we didn't date at first because I didn't like him. He was funny. Like, he
Okay.
liked to work out and stuff, but I was laughing at him because he'll tell me to this day, I did not want you. I was looking at your cousin, but your cousin did not want me. I said, well, I guess we're even. And he's
Wow.
always been like a steadfast force in my life. Like he's
Mhm.
he's very brutally honest with me. He doesn't hold back. And then I guess it's been him these past couple of years because I tell him everything. It's like he gets me and understands me. He know how to set. Oh my gosh, he know how
You
to
know
set me
what?
straight.
You know what, JaKayla? I'm gonna tell you that is what you call a solid marriage. And I can tell you from my own experience being married almost 20 years now that if you have someone who is your rope, your rock, the backbone that is keeping you steady, that is keeping you sane, supporting you, telling you that you're beautiful, listens and empathizes what you say, and you do the same for him, that is a solid marriage. And that's really all you need. Really, that is really all you need because a lot of times, and I see a lot of myself in you because when I was growing up, not to kind of go too much off the subject, but when I was growing up, I had some of the similar things that you were just talking about in terms of my family and people who supposed to love and support me in certain things. But at the end of the day, I did feel at some point that my gift was taken away because I was allowing other people to control what my gift was. And you sound like you have such tremendous gift in writing and things like that. And I just want to encourage you. And I want everybody on this part who listens to this story to also embrace you and show you support that you can take your gift and you can take it as high as you would like to go. And as long as you have your rock and your support with you, then you should have no problems with publishing your book and starting your businesses and getting your degree in strategic communication and social media. There should be no problem whatsoever. So you can hear the empowerment coming out of me right but now as I
Yes.
listen to you because I kind of feel like you're mirroring my life a little bit. And I just want to let you know that there is definitely light on the other end of the tunnel. So anyway, I'm going to get back to not digressing on my life and get back on your life. Okay. So tell me a little bit about your Illuminate Your Tunnel blog. This is a blog, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, tell everybody about this blog.
Well, I kind of scratched it. Like I stopped doing it for a minute because like I met one person on the blog who kind of flipped it upside down for me. She told me to like get an actual website, but she told me her story. Like I just stopped doing the blog altogether, and I kind of just do like private counseling, like where they'll just find me on Facebook and they'll message me their story, and I'll help them that way. She told me that my posts were very encouraging to her because she's been dealing with the situation that she was in for years. I think she told me her dad committed suicide, and then something else happened. Like her dad committed suicide, her mom committed suicide a week later, and her grandma died of a heart attack the next week, and her brother died in a car wreck that same week.
Oh my goodness.
And she told me she's just been like feel like she's been watching herself in slow motion. And I told her I felt like that, like I'm watching my life play out, and I'm not in it. It's just moving without me. So I kind of help people that way until
Mm-hmm.
I can get an actual website because it.
Uh-oh.
I kind of changed the formatting. Like I
Mm-hmm.
call it K by Design because
Mm-hmm.
everybody calls me KK, and it's
Okay.
like K by Design because I am who I am. My past didn't break me. My mom She gave up on me years ago, and now I have two kids, and she's trying to come back into my life. And it's
Mhm.
like, I can't facilitate negative energy at this point in my life because I'm doing so much. Every stone and every stick that's been thrown at me, every hurtful word, every bad curse, omen, or word that was spit at me, I use it to build myself. Like, that's the brand I'm building with K
Amen
by
to
Design.
that. Amen to that. And that's what I'm saying. Can everybody hear that in the room? She is taking negative energy and turning it into a positive. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's why I do this, because I want people to hear that. There are so many young people like yourself that is going through similar situations. And by the sound of your voice on this podcast, I am hoping that they hear what you're saying and not just focusing on the negative, that you are taking something that could be the worst part of your life and turning it into the most positive part of your life. So I commend you on that. And if you need help building a website, I would definitely help you with that, or we have some other people that can help you with that. So you're starting your businesses and you're doing such good stuff. I really want you to kind of talk about how you are furthering helping people by coming out of the dark tunnels. What other type of initiatives are you working on to help folks?
Okay. Well, I'm kind of working on a workshop because for people, I can't explain it, but it's like I get so upset when I hear a young black person say, "Well, this is all I know," or "This is what I know." Like the gang banging and the shooting and the killing each other, it just irritates my soul because I grew up basically in that lifestyle. And my uncle is like 67 years old today and still lives that lifestyle. And I just like I hear so many people saying negative things about the youth. I always talk from the youth of today this, but nobody takes the time out to sit down and listen to them. Nobody tries to hear their struggle. They just want to knock them down and not help them. With my workshops, I will try to give people a platform to tell their story because everybody has a story and everybody don't deal with their demons the same way. Everybody's in their tunnel in different parts of it. Some people are at the very edge and are scared to come out because of the light is so bright. Some people are so deep in it they don't want to come out because it's comforting and it's like a home to them. So I just want to help people get out of that because it's already a stigma of mental illness in the black community. And it's very upsetting to me because I've dealt with depression, schizophrenia, PTSD, anxiety, and I constantly have to explain myself to people because they feel like I'm black. Black people don't do this. Black people don't do that. And I just feel like that's wrong. You can't tell me just because the color of my skin, I can't feel a certain way and I can't act like I'm hurting. Like I guess it just all boils down to the toxicness of masculinity in black men. You want the black man to be this perfect epitome. You want him not to feel. You want him to be tough. You want him to
Hmm.
basically be a robot, show no emotion. You don't, and if he shows emotions, he's automatically gay or weak. You
Right.
want the women to be strong, to be these independent women, but yet submissive. Everybody's always talking about the media. The media does this, the media does that, and I honestly don't think it's the media. I honestly think it's years of families passing down what happened to them
Oh yeah.
to the
Oh,
next
it's
generation.
definitely. It is so definitely like that. It is so definitely like that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people in, I don't know, 2, 3 generations from now that is still teaching hatred and racism and stereotyping and things that nature. But the control, the empowerment still lies within us to either accept it or not accept it, or deal with it or not deal with it. And a lot of times we still precipitate the issue. We precipitated in media for a number of ways, through the news, through comedy channels. You see the comedy shows. There's ways we could have comedy without sticking racism in there every single time, right?
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I know people are going to be like, "Oh, I don't even want to hear that." But yeah, it's true. I mean, because if you kind of look at all the comedy shows out there, who is the one that keeps bringing it up? 90% of the time, right? So of
Yeah.
course people are going to backlash, but it has to start from somebody to say, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. It has to be that person that takes a step up and say, we need to stop, period. And it's one of those things where it's an uphill battle, but what gets me is people who are very young, like you, or younger, who's going through this type of stuff already at your young age and coming out being, feeling like you can't be yourself or you can't exude your talent because people think you are a certain way. But I'm here to tell you that we have the power, the control, and the navigation to control our lives, our destiny, and live the way that we want to live and be and have a fulfilled life. Okay. Have a fulfilled life to do what we are blessed and destined to do. So that right there, I mean, you got me stirred up on this thing. You got me stirred up over here. I have to bring it back because it does bother me, and I think that's one of the reasons why I spent a lot of time investing in my own sons about the fact that they are young black men and what they have to face out here today. I really put that in their minds to never forget that there are people who have paved the way for us to be free, but then there's still just as equally same amount of people that are keeping us from progressing forward, you know?
Yeah.
But like your mindset, just listening to you talk, you're the type of person that can break that barrier down there where you live. If you have that speaking ability, I can hear that. And I want to encourage you to really get that workshop going. I just want to encourage you to, do your workshop, get people to come out, get people to voice and start engaging and maybe touch base with people who are in this community, this podcast community that is in your area or maybe can come down to your area to help you put together a workshop and maybe have some life coaches there, some physical mental therapists there that can help alleviate some of this stuff that you're kind of going through. And I just want to encourage you to do that. So I did pretty much took over your interview. so, but I wanted you to have your time to talk about anything else you feel like that is on your heart. And I promise I won't take over anymore.
Oh, it's okay. That's what me and my husband do this all the time. Like, I'll ask him a question, and then he'll give me an answer, and I'll flip it on him, and he'll just look at me, and I'll be like, yeah, and he'll have to sit there and think because I asked him. I said, if a white person, like you said, because he said this yesterday because we watched a comedy show together. If a white person said the N-word in their comedy show over and over again, black people would be mad. But when a black person says, oh, this cracker, this, that, everybody's just laughing, and it's a good time, and everybody's just dying laughing. I admit I was laughing, too. It was an Eddie Griffin comedy special, and I was just laughing. And I just told him, I said, think about that. And I said, then, and tell me, what does comedy do? And he was like, comedy makes people laugh at the real problem. I said, yes, it makes them kind of ignore it. Like, you're probably going to be like, what? And kick me off your podcast when I say this. But my grandma told me that she did not like Kevin Hart or Eddie Griffin. She preferred Richard Pryor. And I asked her, I said, why? She said, girl, he is so funny. I said, Grandma, you don't like gay people. She said, no. I said, but that man, even his ex-wife said he was bisexual. And he said it himself out of his own mouth. She said, I done been to one of his shows, and he said something like that, but I just thought it was a joke. I said, it's so much. I said, comedy, they use that to pull out the dark stuff in their life so people can laugh at them. But the whole time they're spilling all kinds of sadness about their life so you can laugh at it, but they're not laughing. They're just doing it to make themselves feel better. And she just looked at me, and I was like, if you think about it, that's really sad that you have to get up on a stage and spill all your secrets just to, and laugh at yourself and get other people laughing at you. And
that's part of it. That's part of it. Yeah, that's part. I think the biggest difference between Richard Pryor, Kevin Hart, and the rest of the comedians that most of Richard Pryor's jokes was mostly about himself. And so a lot of the stuff that he talked about was not really talking about other people, was mostly about himself, versus when you look at, you know, Kevin Hart and some of these other people that use the N-word, or they may talk about another race, it definitely is totally different. And then you also look at the time frame, because again, if you look at what happened 25, 30 years ago, the mindset of America or people who are looking at comedy shows was really, really different. Our mindset was different to accept that kind of thing. But now we have more people who are empowered to do a lot of stuff. And so it's becoming more and more sensitive. But I think that this is one of those conversations that I would love to hear people's feedback on, to let me know what their perception is in terms of how they're feeling about today's comedy or today's outlook in terms of how young people are seeing and being treated in racism, in areas where there's a lot of segregation or desegregation or however situation they're in. I would really love to hear from people of, you know, from all over the country, how they are perceiving where they are and what we can do to alleviate that. So we're getting down to the end of your interview, and I want to thank you first of all for really sharing such deep information with me and on the podcast. I know that some of this is very sensitive to you, and I want to just show my appreciation for you disclosing that in your interview. But tell everybody, you know, how they can contact you if they would like for you to come out and speak somewhere to maybe empower some other youth, or maybe they want to be interested in helping you publish your book.
I'm on Facebook. I'm just on Facebook right now, and my name is Kayla with 2 A's Carrigan. And because my Instagram is, I'm trying to keep it personal because I've already had one incident where this young man commented on a picture of my daughter and said some not so nice words, and I almost had to act a fool on the internet, but I didn't. I just changed my stuff back to private.
Okay, all right. So they can catch you on Facebook if they are interested in talking to you about helping you publish your book, and if they want to contact you to come speak somewhere in your state to help other youth. That is fantastic. And so I want to thank you again for being on the podcast. Everyone who's listening to this broadcast, this is a inspiring young lady who has a lot to say, and frankly, she is speaking so much volume right now that I can't even tell you. So if you are in a position that you can help her with publishing her books, or to help her start her businesses, or to do any of those things that will help bring her, you know, to the forefront of what she's trying to do in her career, please reach out to her on Facebook, or you can contact me direct to get in touch with JaKayla on this broadcast. And so with that, I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for this opportunity.